Welcome back to Pokemon Colosseum. At the end of the last episode, we fought some thugs that were members of Team Snag'em, revealing that Wes is actually a former member himself. And we did actually learn that telling the truth and being honest can pay off, because we did reveal the truth to Rui, but she kind of forgave us and she is looking past it and not letting it ruin the small little bond that these two have already developed in just a short time. At the end of the last episode, Rui reminded us that we still need to do a little bit of hunting for some Pokeballs, because we are actually still going to need them, even though we are not going to be capturing wild Pokemon. Let's go visit the mayor's house, because he told us to visit the stadium and it was essentially pointless and he kind of misled us. Let's see what's going on. Still kind of going on about the stadium, even though we can't do anything there yet. So a little bit odd. We're going to leave the mayor's house, go back outside. So we know that we need to find some Pokeballs, and what other place to look than the shop? Let's talk to the shopkeeper. So it looks like nothing's still in the inventory at the shop other than potions and status items. But if we head upstairs... we talked to this guy again. And again, he sells still the same items. None of them are Pokeballs. But if you remember this guy, no one sells Pokeballs around these parts. That's common knowledge. The guy that runs the outskirts stand used to sell them before, but you have to keep that a secret. All right, very useful information. So the outskirts stand, you say? Well, that's where the adventure started. We were just there not too long ago. But it sounds like that guy used to sell Pokeballs that runs the stand over there. So let's see if we can give him a visit. Hiya, if it's not the good-looking couple from earlier. So what's up? Did you manage to find anything out? Yes, we did this time. Is that right? Well, that's great. All right. Talk to this woman again, who helped get Rui out of the bag. Oh, hi, you two. We just noticed, but the truck that was here is gone. Those thugs must have come back and taken off in it. I bet they came from Pyrite Town. I'm sure of it. We're hearing a lot about Pyrite Town, so it sounds like that's a place that has a lot of trouble brewing. But for now, we're going to head back to the outskirts stand, because it sounds like that is the only location that we are probably going to find Pokeballs. So let's see if we can talk to that guy behind the counter in the cafe. And there's this guy again. Rui, don't pay any mind to this dude. He's a crazy dude. Let's go ahead and head inside. We go and talk to this guy again. Listen, pal, if you're intending to travel some more, you might want to stock up on supplies here. Hi, can I ask you something? Don't you sell any Pokeballs? Huh? Pokeballs, you say? There's no call for those things around these parts. Where'd I put them now? Oh yeah, here they are. A little dusty, I'm afraid, but otherwise perfectly usable. Alright, so he does have some after all. Here, take these. I'll let you have them for free. Well, since I found them, I may just as well put them out with the rest of my merchandise. If you need some more, well, how about buying them from me? Alright, so looks like that's the only free ones we do get, but we are now free to buy not only Pokeballs, but Great Balls, which have an even better catch rate than the regular Pokeballs. Only 200 bucks for a single Pokeball. We'll go ahead and buy another 5 of them. That'll total us out to 10. And we might as well pick up some Great Balls as well, because you never know when you're going to need those for a little bit more difficult Pokemon to catch, so... looks like Ryder Willie has left his plate and his drink still at the table. The guy just doesn't know how to clean them up after himself. Recently, there's been nothing but bad news. I wish there'd be a good piece of news that would brighten up the day for everyone. Yeah, but that's just kind of the world we live in, usually. Ah, so you've been to Phenac City. Oh my, I'm quite surprised. You've already gotten yourself a girlfriend. Yeah, we already talked to you. Oh, so some thugs gave you a rough time? There wasn't anyone like that in the old days, isn't it terrible? You always have to appreciate the time that you have, because everything changes. But that's going to do it here for Outskirts Stand. We really have nothing left to do here for now. So let's head back to Phenac City. Oh, it's you two. Something terrible's happening. A whole lot of scary men came here. Again? I think I even saw those 2 creeps who took off in the truck earlier. Oh, great. That's unfortunate. Alright, so it looks like we have some trouble that is now brewing once again here in Phenac. Talk to this woman running around. Maybe she saw something. Hey, you two. There's serious trouble. Those slugs came back with help. I think they went off towards what we call the pre-gym. Alright, we'll head in that direction here. What? What? Is something serious going on? Come on, dude. Get your head out of the sand. If you're still traveling, you should stock up on supplies at the shop here. I recommend it. Yeah, okay. We've already heard this spiel already. Alright, so I guess we have to deal with some more issues here going on in Phenac. I saw a bunch of scary looking people going towards the mayor's house. But it won't matter if those guys do something bad. I'm sure Justy won't let them get away with anything. Yeah, Justy, man. Good old Justy, the pre-gym leader. He's always there to step in when things get tough, isn't he? So we need to actually go ahead and update our strategy memo. We have seen a few other Pokemon since we were here last. So we might as well update it and expand the list a little bit. You got to do that pretty periodically, so we're going to be doing that quite often in this playthrough. So it looks like there's nobody here in the pre-gym. Looks like it's all pretty much the same as we left it the first time we were here. Yeah, we can go ahead and open up our strategy memo. Yeah, it looks like we have a few others added now. So we're just kind of building up that list a little bit. Still very short, but that list is going to get quite long as we progress throughout the game. We'll go ahead and head over to the mayor's house because he's always the guy that we need to go to for advice and help. My goodness, it's terrible. A big group of shady-looking men marched into the mayor's house. Oh, great. That's not good. One place we thought we were safe, and apparently that has already changed, so... Master Mirror B, it's him. He's the one that took the girl from us. Oh no, aren't you boys frightfully pathetic? You mean to tell me that you were bested by these darling infants? Darling. Did you say your name was Wes or something? I so don't like saying this, but we're not at liberty to keep your lady friend at liberty. That sweet young thing, she can see things that ordinary people aren't supposed to see. That just will not do for what we're planning to do. No, it just won't do at all. If you don't like pain, like most people, you can avoid the pain by keeping your nose out of places it needn't be. But boys, oh boys. Yeah, yes we will. Yes we will. Boys, I shall make my return to Pyrite now. Do remember that I will be waiting for you to return with the little lady. Am I making myself clear? I won't accept failure from you again, boys. Let the music spin, let's get it on. You. The last time you caught me off guard. It's not gonna happen this time. Alright, so we are now rematching Shady Guy Folly, but he now has an official title as Mirror B Peon Folly. So it looks like he is one of the loyalists to Mirror B. He's apparently appears to be one of the big honchos of this criminal organization. So we're gonna face off with him, and we still just have Espeon all alone, but like I said, it can hold its own, so I think we're going to be fine here. He just has a Lotad with a Whismur this time around, so again, not too much of a challenge, and again, this is something that you're going to kind of get used to in the beginning of the game, where there's really not going to be much challenge at all. But we can start off with Reflect with Espeon, kind of raise our defense a little bit, and we can pretty much make fine work of these guys, so... Mirror B is quite an interesting character. I remember the first time I played this game, he kind of caught me off guard. With his gigantic afro that is like in the shape and color scheme of a Pokéball. Kind of cool. I never really noticed that was kind of what they were designing him after when I first played the game as a kid, because sometimes you just don't notice those things as a kid. But he is definitely he's a very memorable character in the game, and even in the series. I think that's another reason why I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't continue the series after XD, because he does return in that game as well, and I feel like he could have been a prominent character in the Pokemon universe, and to my knowledge, he's not returned in any other Pokemon games since then, so kind of disappointing, but he's definitely very charismatic. I mean, we just now met him, and even just in this introductory cutscene that we have, Mirror B just comes off very interesting and unique, and you want to know a little bit more about the guy, as soon as you meet him, so... Looks like Espeon finally grew to level 27. Very nice. We're getting even stronger already. We took down Folly once again. Ah, blast it. I got tripped up again. We get another 500 bucks. All right. I knew he had more money stashed in there somewhere. Why couldn't he have just forked it over before? My turn now. I'm not going to end up like Folly. All right, so now facing off with the other one. This is Trudley, the other Mirror B peon. Kind of a joke once again, but he's going to send out a Duskull and a Spinnerack. So we obviously can take out both of these with no problem with confusion. So this will be kind of a cakewalk. And I have to say, this is actually the first time I've ever just tried the beginning of the game with only Espeon. I usually stick with Umbreon for a little bit longer, but normally, and like I said, I have before used both of them on my team at the same time, but typically I'll just kind of stick with one towards the later part of the game. But this is actually the first time I'm trying just, you know, having one of them in my party at a time, just to see if it's a little bit more challenging, because as you can see, we're actually kind of getting low on health here. Probably should use a super potion right now. I don't want to go down like this. But Espeon is still, I think, pretty strong enough to at the beginning of the game where you can literally just use it alone. And as you can see, I'm really not having much challenge at all still. The game's very easy. In my opinion, it's easy all the way until like the middle. There are a couple challenging like boss battles that you will be facing, you know, kind of throughout the game. But for the most part, I really think this game doesn't have a lot of challenge to it. And maybe I'm alone in that. And I think maybe others will disagree. But I think for the most part, as long as you pick the right team, you have a pretty well balanced team, you can pretty much get through it with no problem at all. Wes, it's that one, that Pokemon. Those jerks captured me because I saw that Pokemon. I can see a black aura coming from it. They must have done something to that Pokemon. All right, so we have a Makuhita with a black aura. Like it's a little feisty. Wes, be careful. That Pokemon isn't afraid to attack people. So that's what she was talking about. I hate to say this, but there's no other choice. Get that Pokemon back from the bad guys. Please, you have to. You can. Actually, only you can do it. All right, so she has a lot of faith in us. Even though she just learned that we are a former member of a criminal organization, she's putting a lot of trust in us. So she's definitely a very open-minded person, I have to say. But yeah, Makuhita is going to be the very first Shadow Pokemon. So Shadow Pokemon are essentially the only Pokemon you can capture in the game. You will have quite a bit of them throughout the entire story, and this is the first one that we come across. So just like with catching any Pokemon in the other games, you typically need to weaken it first, and then you can go ahead and start chucking Pokeballs. With Shadow Pokemon, they work a little bit differently because not only can they attack trainers, but they have a move called Shadow Rush, which is typically the only move they start with until they start leveling up and engaging in more battles. Shadow Rush will cause them to take recoil damage, and as you can see, Espeon is taking quite a bit of damage from it. We will not be using Makuhita on our main team, but I am going to be catching every Shadow Pokemon that we do come across on our journey. I think it's weak enough now where we can start trying to catch it. Let's throw our very first Snag Ball. And again, once you get it pretty much into like the yellow or the red, that's pretty much the ideal threshold that you can catch it with. And it looks like we caught it. Very nice. Makuhita is ours. It has been saved and rescued from these punks. What? My Pokemon! Alright. More money it is. Darn it. But you're good. You snagged my Pokemon. Hey, what are you saying? You're not supposed to be impressed. Oh man. What are we supposed to do? We got flattened again. Mirror B's gonna chew us out. What do we do? What is there to do? Run away. Cowards. You are cowards. You did it, Wes. You snagged that Pokemon from the goon. But I'm sure there are others like it. Let's get all of them back from the bad guys. Man, she sure is jumping for joy. I've never seen her so ecstatic before. She has such a great personality, man. Just her energy and her aura is just amazing. Nothing like the aura from the Shadow Pokemon, right? But yeah, we've snagged our first Shadow Pokemon. So that's the first step into cleansing the souls of these very innocent creatures that have been infected with this horrible, horrible aura. We're not up to your tricks. We're not participating in whatever it is you do up here. We're not about that life. We are on a mission to save the world and to save a bunch of innocent creatures that were infected with a nasty, nasty virus. We just received breaking news. According to the arrested Saga member, the smaller snag machine is compact enough to be carried by a single person. Wearing this machine transforms ordinary Pokeballs into snag balls. A snag ball is an alarming device. It can actually steal Pokemon from their trainers. It is hoped that the missing Saga machine will not be used for criminal purposes again. Alright, so information we pretty much already learned already, but now it is being broadcasted locally, so very nice. Oh, you were safe? The mayor wasn't home either, I hear. All that's well ends well. Yeah, the mayor was nowhere to be found, so I'm not sure if they captured him, took him hostage, or what's happening. But if you notice at each of the exits of the town, you will see a guard. These are actually still Mirror B's goons, but looks like there's 3 more of them guarding our exits. So we have something kind of interesting here. So you can only fight one of these guys, and depending on which one you fight will determine which shadow Pokemon you have the opportunity to capture. Now, they are all colored green, red, and blue, which actually resemble different types of Pokemon. If you take on the green guy at the left up there, he will actually have a Shadow Bayleaf. If you take on the red one, he will have a Shadow Quilava, and then of course the blue one down there at the south exit, in the main entrance, will have a Shadow Croconaw. So they will actually be, they will actually have the evolved form of all of the Johto starters. However, unfortunately, just like with typical Pokemon games, you can only choose one of them. This is your chance to actually choose one. Obviously, if you don't have to have any of them, if you choose not to catch any of them. But you get a chance to actually add an evolved Johto starter to your team. We're obviously going to be doing this, and I am going to be using one of them on my main team. Which one is it going to be? It is going to be this one, Bayleaf. Let's talk to this guy. Sorry to break it to you, but I'm not about to let you pass. Or do you have this idea that you can take me in a battle? Of course I can, dude. What are you talking about? You're weak. Huh, who's gonna beat me? You are? Don't be crying out of regret later. That's not gonna happen, sir. I can promise you that. We're taking on Mystery Troop Verde. Verde is obviously the Spanish word for green. And he's gonna send out Bayleaf as well as Grimer. So here is our next Shadow Pokemon. This is the very first Pokemon we are actually going to capture to add to our main team, in addition to Espeon. Now we have Makuhita to fight against our side, to fight on our side. As you can see, yeah, another Pokemon with a black aura. It is Bayleaf. Very nice. Bayleaf is not typically a starter I choose in the Johto region. I would always prefer Cyndaquil or Totodile, or in this case, it would be Quilava or Croconaw. But for specific purposes, I'm going to capture a Bayleaf. I typically go with Quilava on a standard playthrough, but I think it's time to switch it up a little bit. I don't usually go for Bayleaf, like I said, but I think it is pretty defensive. Once it does evolve, it can turn into quite a tank, and it does learn some pretty decent moves later on, so we're going to go for this one. We're going to see what we can do here to try to weaken it without taking it out all the way. Grimer's going to be cake because we have Confusion. But Bayleaf, even as a Bayleaf, is still pretty defensive, so it's going to take a few hits to get it weak enough to capture. He's going to send out a Spoink next. Very interesting choice. What I typically like to do when I am in the middle of a battle with Shadow Pokemon and I'm trying to capture them, I'll do everything I can to really take out all the other Pokemon on the trainer's team and then kind of single out the Shadow Pokemon. It's not always going to be easy, and every battle is going to be different, but that's usually my go-to strategy, just so I have a little bit more, I guess, leverage in terms of weakening the Pokemon, and it just makes it a little bit easier in my opinion, so we're going to go with that strategy. So it looks like Bayleaf already knows Synthesis, so something that's interesting about the Shadow Pokemon that you will be facing that trainers will have is they usually start off with their own movesets when you are facing them in battle. However, once you capture them, the only move that they typically will have with them will be Shadow Rush once you actually are able to use them on your own team. I find that kind of interesting because I've never really noticed that in earlier playthroughs, but just keep in mind that once you do capture these Pokemon for the first time, you're not going to have a full moveset already intact. You have to kind of allow them to learn those moves once you use them more in battles, which doesn't take an incredibly long time, but it is something to kind of stay aware of, because I think that can kind of be misleading if you're Seeing them using moves on the battlefield here right away, but they don't come with those moves once you actually catch them. So kind of interesting. But we now have it down to just Bayleaf, so we're going to see what we can do here. I don't want Makuhita to do anything because I don't want to take it down or accidentally take it out too quickly. We just want to kind of weaken it a little bit, obviously, because we're catching it. Looks like it's going to do an annoying strategy of healing itself after every attack, so that's kind of annoying with Synthesis. Something also nice is Bayleaf does come at level 30, and all the Shadow Pokemon, I believe, except for maybe 1 or 2, will start at least level 30 or above. So you have kind of a nice advantage once you do capture these Pokemon, because they will start off pretty strong pretty fast. And even though the moves kind of come later, it is nice to have Pokemon at like level 30 and above, because that's pretty much going to be most of the levels you're going to be facing with these trainers coming up are going to be all, level 30s. So, I believe we still are going to be facing level, 20s at some point. There's Razor Leaf. Like Makuhita avoided that attack. You're very good. We're going to try chucking a Pokeball because that's what we're going to use to catch it in. It's pretty traditional for a starter to be in a regular Pokeball. That's what we're going to use. We're going to heal up Espeon just in case it goes down. Should this catch fail. Let's see what happens. We have a female here. 2, 3, and it is ours. We have finally added the second member to our main team. You're tough. Trudley and Folly can't be blamed for losing. $900. Man, these guys are wealthy. What was that strange Pokemon? What did you people do to it? It's a Pokemon we turned into a fighting machine by artificially closing the door to its heart. No, you didn't. You artificially closed the door to that poor Pokemon's heart? I mean, that's what the man said. Knowing that's not going to help you do anything. What a dick. I know. When I was little, I heard about that. They say that if any Pokemon closes the door to its heart, it can be gradually reopened by battling together with it. Wes, let's go. Those guys are probably headed for Pyrite Town. After all, it was in Pyrite that they captured me. Oh, you were safe? The mayor wasn't home either, I hear. All's well that ends well. Well, Granny, that doesn't really have a happy ending quite yet. We don't even know where the mayor is. We're not sure if he was abducted, captured, or taken hostage, but we finally have a Bayleaf. So one thing I forgot to do was go into the stats here of these Shadow Pokemon. Makuhita is a decent choice. I'm just not going to be using it for my team. Bayleaf obviously has pretty decent stats. We have Overgrow for the ability. It's pretty defensive starting off, but once again, as we kind of use it more in battling, it will grow even more. So go ahead and take this time to heal up our Pokemon. We just engaged in some pretty vigorous battling there. Now, we could drop Makuhita off in the PC right now. I'm not going to do that just to have an extra member in our team. Even though he won't be a permanent member of my team, it's nice to have a filler Pokemon just in case we might need to fall back on it in just in any dangerous situation, I would say. I don't really forecast that happening anytime soon, but it may happen later on. This town's been the very picture of peace, but now the mood is tense and nervous. There must be something terrible afoot. Oh, nothing like a criminal organization to take it over to do that. Isn't this awful? What are all these horrible people doing here? What? Something serious is going on still? Man, you're just clueless. You have your head in the sand. I don't know if your marrow was using Bubble Beam too many times and just has your ears full of bubbles, but man, you need to get out of there. Justy won't let them get away with anything. We're gonna actually go and visit Justy now. So let's go back to the pre-gym. We can actually take this time to update our PDA again. Oh, I guess you met a new Pokemon or so. Let's update your data. Okay, here you go. I hope you'll study it carefully. Go and update our list. Make it even longer. And now we have Bayleaf added as well as some other Pokemon that we just faced off with, so not too bad. Not too bad at all. Hi, welcome to Pre-Gym. This is a place for trainers and Pokemon to not only sharpen their strength and skills, but also their body and spirit. Again, sounds very therapeutic. Talk to Justy again. When you're ready to go to the battle area in the center and stand at the left-hand side. Yeah, so I think this time around, instead of playing with this guy and just kind of leaving as he told us to go to the battlefield, we're going to take on some challenges now. Wes, go for it. I'll be right here cheering. Looks like you're ready. Well, let's get this started. In all, you'll be facing 4 trainers. They're all a handful, and I can vouch for that. And now, this is where your opponent enters. All right, challenger number 1. Step right up. Do you feel like taking on some grass-type Pokemon? Then I'm the one you want. All right, so challenger 1 of 4. It is finally time to take this on. These challengers are not going to be anything difficult. We will have the opportunity to, after we defeat these 4 trainers, to actually challenge Justy to a full 6-on-6 battle. However, since obviously we don't have 6 Pokemon yet, that will have to kind of take a little bit of a rain check after we finish these trainers off. But I think it's a good opportunity to get Bayleaf a little bit of battle experience because, like Rui said, one of the keys to opening the door to these Shadow Pokemon's hearts is to have them engage in more battles. So we're going to do just that. Like I said, these trainers are pretty damn easy. I'm not really too worried about taking them on. We have a damn Sunkern and a Hoppip. I mean, these are probably 2 of the easiest Pokemon you'll ever face in any of the games, including this one. So we're going to go ahead and take them on and see how we do. Even though Bayleaf is a grass type, it is pretty defensive and can hold its own as well. So I think it's the perfect time to use it in fights. Hoppip goes down, and that's already it for the first fight. Nothing to it. Botan. How do you like that? You're more than strong enough. I'm going to toughen up some more. I hope you can keep working too. All right, not too bad. At least they bow out with, with grace and dignity. So what's your plan? Do you keep chugging on with your battle challenge? We sure are. Okay, gotcha. Let the next battle get started. What do we have here? Leave water type battling to me. I'll teach you just how strong the water type can be. All right, nice little poetic rhyming. We have Liquiwy, obviously short for liquid. Yeah, some of these trainer names you'll kind of find be a little bit odd, and kind of makes me wonder where they came up with some of these names, because some of them are just outright, I don't know, just weird, I guess. Like some of them are named after like specific elements or objects or things like that, and it just kind of makes you wonder where they came up with these names. But she's going to specialize in water types. The last one to specialize in grass types, so you can kind of see a pattern going on here. With Espeon, again, all these fights are going to be pretty easy because Infusion can pretty much do quite a bit of damage to all these Pokemon. And we do have Bayleaf now, so taking out water types is going to be a thing of the past. Even though we don't have any grass moves, I probably shouldn't say that quite yet. But water attacks are pretty much going to do nothing to it, so... I can't wait till we finally have some grass type moves though on Bayleaf, because obviously that's going to be a lot more beneficial. But we take these 2 down with no issue at all, and we get a little bit more experience, so not too bad. I was impressed by your Pokemon. As you should be, Liquiwy. You're on a liquidy diet, are you? My goal is to become the ultimate water type battler. Back to more training for me. I hate to burst your bubble, but I think that's already taken by a certain gym leader in Cerulean City in Kanto. I don't know, it just kind of comes to mind. And we are going to keep chugging on with number 3, because we are just about halfway done here, so. Ooh, we have a youngin'. A youngin' trainer. He's probably just starting off. Probably has a Bulbasaur or something. Is it you? Do you want to battle me? You don't look like a trainer. Oh, wow, somebody actually doesn't think we are. You can learn how a proper trainer battles from me. Kid, you're like 10 years old, bro. Like, back up. I guess you can't judge expertise and skill by age, so we'll give him a chance. He's got a Trapinch and a Swinub, so it looks like he's specializing in ground types. Swinub is part ice as well, but still nothing that we can't take on ourselves, so. Go ahead and hit Confusion. on, I'll go on Trapinch. And then Shadow Rush as well. I think Trapinch is usually pretty defensive, even though it's pretty lower level here. Ooh, we got a critical. Nice. I take back what I said. Go close to another level on Espeon. And something also I haven't mentioned yet is where the experience bar is actually supposed to be located, where the shadow Pokemon are on the screen there. You can see it's actually a purple bar that's divided into 5 bars. It's divided into 5 separate meters. Once the purple has been emptied and it's all a clear color, that means that that Pokemon is ready to no longer be a shadow Pokemon. I don't want to spoil too much about this yet, but essentially that tells you that the door to their heart has finally been fully opened. Obviously, the more battling you do, that will open up that door, so you just want to keep that in mind. And the more it empties, also the more moves you will learn along the way. You're tough, even though you don't look it. Don't judge a book by its cover, kiddo. Important lesson in life. The way you battle is, interesting. You might say it's unique, or maybe it's just chaotic. Well, I'll wish you the best of luck. Thank you, kid. I don't think we're gonna need it for this place. And we are gonna keep chugging on with our final challenge here. Let's get it on. Your challenge is accepted. I do hope you're ready. We have a Lady Gwen as our final challenger today. She has a Geodude as well as a Rhyhorn, so it looks like she is a Rock-type trainer. Good news for us because we have an Espeon and a Bayleaf, so let's do this. We're gonna hit, actually start off with a Reflect, and then we're gonna go with Shadow Rush. Want to keep our defenses up, even though we probably don't need to do this. And Rhyhorn doesn't really do a lot of damage because it's made of pure rock. Obviously, would have been nice to have Razor Leaf at this point, but we don't have that move yet. And here's a good example of why I wanted to use Reflect, kind of minimize the damage from that Rock Tomb. Of course, we have Rock Throw. That was the move I was actually anticipating Geodude to use, so good call by me. And now we go ahead and finish things off with a Confusion. That should take out Geodude in one hit. Very nice. Yeah, it can be a little annoying just having only Shadow Rush to use starting off, but like I said, you're just kind of working yourself up to, you know, some of the better movesets. To me, it's actually a little bit more enjoyable than how the original games are, where instead of just learning moves from leveling up, you actually do it this kind of the same idea, except it feels like you're working up towards something more in this game, where you know, even though we have a level 30 Bayleaf that's an evolved Pokemon, it only still has one move. So the more battles that we participate in, the more that we can work to get those moves unlocked, those other moves unlocked. My battling style must have been too sophisticated for you. Yeah, that was it. That was it right there. She nailed it right on the head. So that was challenger number 4, which means we have cleared all the challenges. Whoa, that was inspiring. You showed me a great battle. It deserves a gift. I want you to have this. And we get the White Herb. You don't have a full party of Pokemon yet. When you get 6 of them, I'd like you to come see me again. That's when I will be your opponent. I'll be looking forward to it. So pretty cool. So yeah, so once we have a full team, we will return here once again and actually take on the leader of the pre-gym, Justy himself. You can actually go into this elevator where these trainers popped out of, which takes you down to this little training field here. This is a training center. It has a variety of terrains, so any kind of Pokemon can train where they're comfortable. Pretty cool. So we have a little bit of a grassland here. We have Magikarp. I don't know why it's in the grass. We have an Oddish over here, a little bit more fitting to this area. Kind of cool. This place isn't, you know, that big, but it's nice to see a little action going on behind the scenes for these trainers that are gearing up for the challenges. So we have an Aron, kind of cool Pokemon there, over here in the little rock area. And of course we have a ground area. Where did it dig to? Where'd my Sandslash go? Come on, boy, come on out, please. Looks like this kid is looking for a Sandslash. It's somewhere underground. But yeah, a nice little addition here to the pre-gym. I love these little added details that they add at some of these locations. Like, you wouldn't see this in a typical gym in any standard Pokemon game, so it's kind of cool to see it here. This is where they do their training, so very nice. We get a little sneak peek of that. We're going to head back up to the pre-gym. And we are pretty much done here for now. We've updated our strategy memo. We have faced off with the first 4 challengers of the pre-gym. Only thing left to do is come back. Congratulations, that was a fabulous battle. It electrified me. Very cool. What does she have to say? You're awfully strong. I think you would find it easy to become a teacher here. I don't know about that. That takes a certain type of skill set that I don't think I have. Like knowledge. No, I'm just kidding. I know things, just not a lot of things. Well, I think that's going to do it for the pre-gym. So we're actually going to go ahead and leave. And, yeah, I think it's actually time to heal up and prepare for our next destination. Looks like the mayor is still not home. So there's really nothing left to do here in Phenac. So next time on Pokemon Colosseum, we will actually be heading to our next destination, which is going to be Pyrite Town. And we've been hearing quite a bit about Pyrite Town, which sounds like where a lot of the criminals go to cause a lot of havoc. I think it's time to actually head over in that direction now. Well, until then, I will see you later.